thing you put your arm
Whoop.
in.
No. Oh, blood pressure cuff?
Yeah, we have a blood pressure cuff. And so I measured mine today, and it was pretty good. It was like 110/50 or something like that.
Well, that's low. That's not good. It shouldn't be low or high. You're about to faint.
This was the alarming thing. I came back by that machine later, and somebody had recorded like a 180 over like something crazy, and their heart rate was 100 sitting down.
Dude, so there was just on med-surg, just a regular hospital floor. This guy, everything was fine with him. This was on one of my rotations when I was in nursing school. Everything was fine with him. He's like, "Can I go home?" And they were like, "We can't let you go home." His blood pressure was over 200. It was like 200 over 120, like astronomically high. And
actively having a heart attack.
And he was fine. He was just talking, and they were like, "Something has to be wrong." And we did it manually, and like 3 different nurses did it manually, and then they did it with the electronic one. It's all over 200 on that first number, and like they're like, "We can't let you go home with this." And then they just gave him blood pressure meds to make it go down. And then they finally, I don't know if they let him go or not. I was done with my shift, so he was still there when I was there. But it's just always nice whenever you feel like you're working, you're doing good, and then it's reaffirmed by the doctor's office. Your heart rate is always a little higher too. You're nervous. So I was on cloud 9. I was like, man, I'm freaking Rich Froning, here I come. That's how I felt.
My heart rate's 47. I couldn't be more jacked up.
My heart rate, when's the last time, I guess in CrossFit it's popular, but when you see a 200-pound guy whose heart rate is 47, resting heart rate is 47.
That's pretty good. Yeah,
that made me feel really, really, really
probably BMI obese.
Yeah. And, yes, I was obese. I was obese. Yeah. Or I'm either I think I'm like 0.1 from being obese and just really heavyweight.
Yeah.
Right.
Overweight.
All right. Well,
I bet Christine is obese. You want to ask her about it when she gets on?
That's on you, man. That's on you. That is on you. So Christine should hopefully be on here any minute now. It's been a little bit since been a week since we've been on, and some news. So we'll go ahead and get started, and maybe she jumps in, and we'll just transition. So first thing we did want to talk about was the worldwide rankings did come out. So after my little rant last week, CrossFit ends up.
I think they abandoned it, guys. I don't think we're ever using it ever again.
Well, they just magically
Spin woke them up. They were like, "Oh shit, we forgot.
We had to dust this thing off."
Yeah.
So they did come out with it. Justin Medeiros and Laura Horvath are still number 1. Let's see. Let's see. Here, Christine's trying to have a little bit of trouble. So let me go on to.
Do you know who was the highest jumper on that? And me and Tyler can talk about it while you're trying to fix that.
Yeah. So let me share my screen here. You guys can take a look at this. Let's see.
I thought you meant just actually a high jumper. I was like, how would they know that?
Probably Sydney Wells, we'll be honest.
No, Yella Hoste moved way up. Connor Winneritz from Africa.
Okay, let's talk about Emma Carey because she jumped up a
lot. Yeah, she did jump up decent. Hang on one second, guys.
I mean,
okay, go ahead.
Do you want to bring her up because you aren't surprised or that you are surprised?
Well, she missed last year and she's still 53rd, I think.
Yeah.
So it's hilarious. It's kind of funny because she's 53rd and realistically, I mean, she's in the running to win the game. So if we're gonna be honest, for sure podium. I can't believe she's only jumped 6 spots.
I mean, dude, she's carrying a dead weight.
Yeah.
22 semifinals and 22 games.
No, but it shows how much they've jumped from semifinals, correct?
She only moved up 6 spots. You see
right
here, this plus
so
6.
She got 4,000 points, and then she only jumped up 6 spots. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like I just would have thought she would have jumped up more. I know she doesn't have a 2022, but it's funny
until
that
she
she's
gets
53rd. This is why I think the worldwide rank, like we should have our own top 100 ranking, because Emma Carey is 53rd. In all actuality, she's at least top 5 in the world.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a different ranking.
It's for so we have placements in semifinals next year. I get the reasoning for it.
Yeah.
But it just sounds hilarious when they're like, Emma Carey, 53rd in the world, is leading the heat. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's like we're gonna use it, and the announcers are gonna say this is their ranking worldwide and use it as like this is the official thing. Like, I don't think
it's true. It makes it irrelevant in the short term. And like Ricky,
which is all that
Ricky
matters
next year
in a competition. The short term is all that matters.
Yeah, we're gonna see the same thing with Ricky next year. He's gonna be in like 60 something, and then it's gonna be like he's leading the heat.
Ricky's doing really good for 64th in the world. Man,
right.
Can't believe he's up there. Like it just.
That I did. I'm working on a project on the worldwide rankings. Somebody asked me something. I just started turning over rocks just to see what I could find, and I was just like, man, this system is just so flawed. I had forgotten how bad it was until I started trying to rework it again. I was like, Jesus.
All right, here we go.
Oh, we got to hold it, Christine.
Here we go. Christine working through some technical difficulties. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining, Christine.
Yeah, for sure.
So I asked you to join because I saw earlier this week you had gone through a back procedure, and I thought that was pretty interesting, competing through semifinals. And so it looks like you did like PRP or something like that. Can you kind of share what you actually had happen this week and how kind of go through that process?
Yeah, so I've always struggled a little bit with back issues. I think a lot of people in CrossFit do, but after the games last year, I think it was the yoke carry. It was just really heavy. After that event, I was like, okay, my back is toast. I kind of thought it was just the accumulation of the weekend, and after that, the pain just never really went away. Like it was just like a daily thing. But it was manageable. Like I would wake up and it would feel okay. And then by the end of the day, it would be just like in a lot of pain, but I would wake up the next day and it would be fine and I could train. So it was manageable. And then at semifinals, for whatever reason, the rucksack really irritated it. And same thing when I practiced that event at my gym for a week after that, it was just, my back was pissed off, more so than normal. And then at semifinals, I think it just re-aggravated it again after that second event. And it kind of just became managing it through the rest of the weekend. A lot of ibuprofen. Luckily, I had my chiropractor there, and she did body work on me after every event. But it was kind of scary, going to bed at night. It was almost spasming. So it was just a little bit had to be a little bit careful in events. So when I got home, I was like, okay, I need to get imaging done just to see what's going on, make sure it's not a disc issue or a stress fracture or something like that. And luckily I was able to get in right away, got an ultrasound, and was able to see that you have a ligament. It's called the iliolumbar ligament, and it's what connects your spine, your lower spine, to your pelvis. And there are a bunch of little tears all up and down that. So yeah, they did PRP right away, which was awesome. Which is basically, if people don't know what that is, they take my blood, draw it out, spit it down so it makes it sticky, and then they inject it into the tears of the ligament. And and it makes it worse before it gets better. But then in a couple of weeks, it'll like really start rapidly healing. So the hope is that by the games that I won't be in any pain with my back.
So you've been dealing with basically a back pain the last full year almost, training for this season.
Yeah. And like I said, it was manageable, but I think as the season goes on, everything gets heavier, there's more volume, and it's just like, man, it's just getting worse and worse. And with games training, it's just going to get even heavier and more volume. And I was like, I can't risk this. Like, I need to do something about it if I can. And it really was best case scenario, like not being a disc issue or a stress fracture or anything like that.
Yeah, you said that it would, the ruck aggravated it in the weeks leading up to it with practice. Was there any time during the semifinal that you were worried that you may have to, withdraw at some case, or was it manageable, but just kind of, you could feel it?
Not withdrawal, but if you've ever had a back spasm, it's like, if that happened on the floor, there's nothing you can do. Like, you're just done. Like, it's not like something that you can just push through and be tough. If your back spasms, like, you can't move. So, and I've had that before, and I know what that feels like, and I know what the kind of precursors to being very close to that is. And I was very close to that. So I just had to be like, I had to move with perfect form. I couldn't get sloppy out on the floor. Like, I couldn't round my back on movements when you want to go a little bit faster, and cut your form a little. Or like the last event I was nervous about because I really wanted to wear a belt for the 150-pound sandbag, but I knew that if I wanted to have a competitive time, like, there's just no time to undo a belt and strap it back up. So it was kind of like I think I touched the bag one time in the warm-up area. Like, I kind of just picked it up, and I was like, I can't, like, if I try to warm this up, I'm just not going to mess with it. So I just got my heart rate up, warmed up some toes to bar, and I was like, I can pick it up once I'm out there, and hopefully it doesn't spasm. Yeah.
What did you think about the new larger semifinal field? With more athletes out there, there's obviously more specialists that could kind of, have a great event that may push you down the leaderboard more, but relative to qualifying, you're still safe. Did that play into your head at all?
More so just I liked it. I liked it for several different reasons. It was cool to see friends. Like, it was cool to see people. Like, it felt like regionals again. I know it was bigger, but it felt like, everyone's in the same place. And also, like you said, there were those heavy hitters in certain events, and it made it exciting because, somebody from the first event or first heat could snatch 210 pounds or whatever. And especially the way that these workouts were, I think almost every workout was set up in a way that there could be a specialist on it, So it's like, even if you were in the last heat, you still really had to worry about those other heats. And I think it just made it more interesting, like, with the leaderboard, especially in the West, maybe not so much in the East, but there was a lot of jumping around. Like, the points were just close the whole weekend. So you knew, if somebody does really good, they can jump to the top. If I have a bad event, I can fall out of it, so I liked it.
Yeah.
How did you change your training did you change your training at all with your dealing with your back while you were in between the games in the semifinals? Because you had an easier time making it this year than you did last year.
Yeah.
So I would say you like a bigger feat because you made it pretty easily. You kind of could walk through and make it. Where last year you were the last person in.
Yeah, so a couple different things. Last year, I don't know if you know this, but the rope climb workout, I missed the beam on the last,
no reps.
I got all the way up there, but I literally just missed the beam. And then it was I timed it perfect for that 10th one, and then I tried to do another one, and my grip was gone. Mm-hmm. And if like not to take away from anyone else, but like if I would have gotten that rope climb, I would have won the semifinal last year. So there's that part of it.
So you're the same then. You didn't improve at all, is what
No,
you're saying.
that's not it. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, like, I think sometimes people think like, oh, you were the last one in. And it was like, I made a major mistake last year and it cost me, you know, like I kind of played the like reckless game with that workout. Like I wanted to win that event. And it was a learning lesson too. Like you kind of have to ride that line of like being reckless, but also semifinals, you have to be kind of smart. Like if you make a major mistake, you're out, you know? Luckily it works in my favor, but I would say changes going into this year. First of all, I was healthy during the off season. Last year, I had a lot of like post COVID heart issues that it was just like a mess, and I got sick all the time in the off season. So that really affected just like working on weaknesses. It was more focused on like, okay, am I going to be healthy enough to be able to compete in 2021? This year I had the full off season to really, you know, work on weaknesses. And I think switching to HWPO for me, it was so cardio based in the off season. Like it was really just like cardio, strength, accessory work, like just like laying a foundation. And I think for someone like me, I mean, I was a gymnast and like a sprinter in track. So like, I just need that like long cardio, and that's my missing piece. And I feel like we really laid that foundation this year.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely, you know, I wouldn't say easy, but you made it look easy throughout the semifinals weekend. You know, you were pretty much secured your spot heading into Sunday, as long as you just, you know, came in with 2 decent performances. How is your back feeling now, and what have you done since the semifinals in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, so my back is feeling better than it should be after the procedure. So right after you get PRP, like the 48 hours after is supposed to be like excruciating. I mean, they're taking a needle and basically going into that ligament and like almost tearing it more, like they're scuffing it up more. But I don't really know why I didn't really, I experienced less pain than I was in after that. And I don't know, like they gave me hardcore pain meds and I just kept waiting like, okay, the numbing stuff is going to wear off and I'm going to be in so much pain, and it just never really happened.
How much pain were you in before surgery? That's probably the key here.
So it was like,
out of
it's
10?
hard because I've dealt with back pain for a very long time. But like by the end of every day, I mean, like you can talk to Jared about it. I mean, he's like, I mean, I would see you at night and think, I don't know how you're going to train tomorrow. Like I would be trying to make dinner and be like, I have to sit down. My back hurts so bad. Like, or like,
tell Jared to make dinner then. Your back hurts. Christine, come on now.
But like, I'm saying like, you know, is weird. Like if I would coach the last class of the day at our gym, I would be like, oh my gosh, like I can't even go pick up that box right now to go put it away. Or this dumbbell, like I can't even think about like bending over to pick up this dumbbell right now. But then I would get up the next day and somehow be able to train. I don't know. Once I figured out that it was torn, I think our brains, especially like when you want something, our brains turn off pain receptors. And so once I learned what was actually wrong, you know, I still trained a little bit before the procedure, but it just like, I was very aware of, oh, when I do a box step up, I can feel myself completely using my hamstring and my glute. And I'm not like, we've been trying to figure out with my chiropractor why my back is not activating at all. And my hamstring is just like blowing up. And it's like, oh, that muscle is not working, you know, and our bodies are incredible. Like the way that they can compensate and it's truly incredible. Or like my psoas is super tight. So they would like loosen my psoas and then my back would start to spasm. Well, my psoas was like holding my back in place, you know?
Right.
But as far as how I'm feeling and what I've been able to do, so after semifinals, I took a week off, just like pretty much everyone does, and then came back home, got in for the imaging, found out it was wrong. After my week off, I trained Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like normal. I just didn't do much heavy lifting. And then got the procedure done on a Wednesday night or Thursday. I don't know. Wednesday night or Thursday. And then had to take those 2 days of just like nothing. And then they said after that second day, okay, you can start stretching. I was able to like go into the gym and do my normal 40-minute EMOM on Saturday. And I just kind of modified the movements. But so this last week I've done everything, but I have to stay away from compression and extension for a week, which is through tomorrow actually, just to make sure like the stem cells really get in there, and because I guess you can squish them out. So just making sure that really solidifies in there, and then they said just go by pain tolerance after that.
Got it.
They shouldn't tell you that.
Yeah, I know.
That's a
Yeah,
terrible
that's
thing to
scary
say.
to say.
Whoever's telling you to say
We're
that,
gonna-
they don't know,
we're
they
gonna
don't know
go,
who you are.
There you go.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, I really think it's best case scenario, because the last thing I'll be able to do full force is heavy lifting, and I'm very confident in my lifting. So if anything, it's going to force me to work on things that I need to work on anyways. So yeah.
Got a question here. Curious about the HWPO program, like which one are you doing? Have you, who are you working with within the HWPO team?
Yeah, so I'm just doing the pro, like the standard pro programming.
Group blog?
And then, what?
The group blog? That's cool.
Yeah. And then
I like when pro athletes do that. I think that's neat.
Yeah. Yeah. And some people, I've gotten some athletes are like, I can't believe you're just doing that. I've never had an individual coach. Jared, he's not like, I see some athletes and they have coaches that are, right over their shoulder for every move. He's not like that, but he looks over my programming every day. If there's something that he doesn't think I should do or should swap it out for something else, he helps me kind of tweak it. So I would say like he's my on-site coach, and then I just take the programming. But I've always just been a believer, like I feel like you can get a lot out of good programming without like individualized would be really cool, but I don't know. It's working. So, but as far as the coaching staff, they're really open to, like, I can reach out to the program writer, Stephen Fawcett. I talked to him on Instagram quite a bit. And then Jake Marconi, I met him at semifinals. And really at semifinals, the whole HWPO staff was just so helpful. Like we had meetups and went over every workout. They answered questions. They were in the warm-up area. There was like some talk of appeal stuff, and they were like in my corner advocating for me with a couple things, and just I'm so impressed. And I'm actually going out to Vermont this next weekend to train with them, so that'll be really fun.
I'm interested.
Go ahead, Tyler.
Sorry. What were you doing before, and what did you learn? Like, what was different when you changed over to Hard Work Pays Off? Like, was there a learning process, and what did you find out about yourself or think ideas you had about programming?
Yeah, so I did Mayhem the last couple years, and before that, when I was team, we did Brute. And Jared, same thing, would kind of change it, especially with the team stuff and the Brute programming. I think all the programming is good. I just think for me, especially with my personality, like the HWPO just is so organized. Like it just seems like there's so much thought behind it. And you know, on the off season, I kind of told you that it was like so segmented. You're building your base, you're doing your cardio, you're doing your strength, you're doing your accessory work for injury prevention. And you start to almost feel like, am I going to be ready for the open? And then it shifts gears and you start adding in a little bit more gymnastics and you're like, okay, here we go. But it was almost like a trust process. Like, you know, am I going to be ready for the open? Like we're not even doing Metcons. But then we got to the open and I placed better than I ever have in the open. And I'm like, okay, you know, and I honestly was like, maybe it was a fluke. Like, I don't know. And then kind of same thing going into quarterfinals, like, am I prepared for quarterfinals? And sure enough, they start adding in exactly what we need for quarterfinals and get to quarterfinals and have my best quarterfinal finish. And like, same thing with semifinals. And it just feels like each step, it just feels very planned out and organized and like has a purpose behind it.
You talked about quarterfinals and even just the open with all of the different requirements to make sure you get through that, right? If you're at a training camp, you have a whole team there to measure stuff out. How are you going about doing that? Is it all up to Jared or
no?
I mean, how are you trying to manage all of the different standards and making sure you're hitting the right things?
Yeah, I'm a psycho. Like, I definitely have people that help me at the gym, but it's just like, I mean, even Jared, like when he's judging me, I'm like, if you touch a piece of my equipment, you're dead. Like, do not touch anything, you know? And it is a lot. Like, I like competing in person way better than online just because the online stuff just has all that added crap that you have to worry about. And it's like, if you mess one thing up, not because of your fitness, you can be out of it, you know, or if your judge messes it up, like that's even more stressful. Or like, we're not going to shut down our gym to do these workouts. So like, what if a member
somebody walks through your
accidentally
camera,
knocks something over, or, you know, and it's just like, whew, when that weekend is over, it's nice.
Yeah. So you have 6-7 weeks left to train. What is that going to look like? Or, I mean, or do you even know what that looks like? Of how you're going to progress and what you're going to kind of focus on in the next month and a half?
So far, like our official games training just started. This is day 3. Like I was still training per se, but like the official games track, this is day 3. And I mean, I've already done a huge running session. I've already done an hour-long road bike session. I've already done swimming. Like, I feel like they're already getting us to like outside and doing all of these extra things that isn't just like the normal CrossFit stuff. So I would expect a lot more of that. And then I think I'll have a better idea after like going to Vermont, and I think that weekend's going to be kind of like a game simulation weekend, which will be really fun. But yeah, I don't really know. It's kind of the same way I felt through the open and quarterfinals and semifinals. Like, I know it's going to change and get different, but I haven't been through it with them before. So, I don't know.
Do you have any expectations or goals heading into it? Just even knowing that, you know, you did just have a back procedure and, you know, I would say maybe a little bit uncertain up until, you know, you can get there. Do you have any goals or things you want to accomplish?
Yes. So I have written down at the gym to be in the last heat at the games. Last year I had a pretty much broken hand at the games, so it was not good. And I know I'm capable of way more than what was last year. But I also know that everyone's really good there. So yeah. I'm just kind of staying in my lane and trying to be the best version of myself. And like, that's my goal, to be top 10. But I know that's kind of everyone's goal. And there can only be 10 girls.
What would be a wheelhouse workout for you at the games? A games level wheelhouse workout. What would it have in it that we might not know? Okay, bar muscle ups. Okay, I knew. Obviously, we know the lifting, but bar muscle ups too.
Yep, and really any kind of snatch. Like it can be light, medium, super heavy, doesn't matter. But yeah, that combo of snatch bar muscle up, for some reason, like I've done it a few times with people, and I love it, and it blows other people up, and I just I love it.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you taking time out of your afternoon to join us, and good luck with training for the next couple weeks, and good luck at the games.
Thank you.
Awesome. Have a great one.
Have a good one, Christina.
All right. Where were we? Back to worldwide rankings. I had no idea that she'd been dealing with a back injury all season long. So
yeah,
it's pretty wild.
It's exciting, honestly. I'm excited to, if like every time we've seen her, she's been broken. I'm excited to see her not broken.
I hope her back is legitimately healed, or it gets that way over the course of the next few weeks.
BRP works. There's I got a buddy in the NFL who did that to his knee, and he said there was nothing better than that, short of like miracle drugs. Yeah, obviously you can get somewhere else, but PRP worked really, really well for his knee.
Mason Mitchell, almost everybody at that level is dealing with injuries. No news.
It's different. It's different.
It's kind of
everybody's sore. I wouldn't say everybody's injured.
Right.
There's a huge difference.
Yeah. All right, back to world rankings. So yeah, John,
me and Tyler, I think, covered all of it.
Covered all of it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Like, so did you guys take a look at the actual tables of the points?
I did. It's so minuscule.
Yes. I looked through what you're showing right now.
It's almost more complicated than the fact that they're all different. It's like just have one.
They're all the same at like one spot at up to 9th, right?
10th, and then it starts getting wonky from there. And it doesn't, I don't like, what's the point, right? Like, I don't know why you need to give somebody 150 more points if it just seems arbitrary to me. I don't see how they're getting to it.
Especially when they're all going to get the same amount of points in the open. Right. It's like, what's that joke from Whose Line? Where the points don't matter.
Right. Like we're using this. And again, like all these athletes probably in the top 10, it doesn't matter, right? They're going to be the way that they do the points and calculate places. It doesn't matter. And it gets down to those athletes who are in the, 30th place to 60th, right? Who are fighting for a top 100 spot. But the points are even less at that point. I just don't. I guess I just don't see the appeal of it.
Right. It makes me question what, like, okay, maybe they would say, well, you got to get through a full cycle of a season, and then you guys are going to see how this plays out. And it's like, I just don't believe that that's true. What are you hoping that this accomplishes? It's like, this is for spots for semifinals? There are way less complicated ways to do that. I mean, you and I both have gone over multiple ways to do it that are easy.
Right.
It's a lot of work for nothing. And if there's somebody who understands a lot of work for doing nothing, it's me.
You point to your analysis the last 3 weeks.
That was mean to yourself, Tyler. Good grief.
I mean, I do wonder, like, it's like we are doing it for 1 or 2 or 3 spots, between 9 and 12 spots at a semifinal, for all of this work that, like, nobody's going to say that Emma Carey is 53rd in the world. Like, could we use these for something else that would actually make it worthwhile? And I'm wondering, like, does worldwide ranking help get you into competitions in the off season or something like that?
Is somebody not going to accept Emma Carey because she's 53rd and they only have 40 athletes who are eligible?
What do you mean? Right. Can we use it for something else?
Like, instead of doing all these online qualifiers, like, do you incentivize or use worldwide rankings for other things, whether it's to get into a competition, an automatic invite, or you're in a certain category?
I don't think so, man. For what? Like, Rogue's got its way of doing things with the games. Like, the games is your automatic invites, right? Like, that's your automatic invites for Wodapalooza, Rogue, Dubai, even. Like though the games is your automatic invites. I don't think you can use, because somebody has heard a year you don't get an automatic invite. Like Rogue is not gonna not invite Ricky Garrard to do their competition, and he's not going to have a ranking.
His score's not good. His worldwide ranking's not good.
That's
we
my
can't
point.
invite him.
Yeah,
No,
that's not going to happen.
I'm thinking more further down the list,
But further down the list, then I'm thinking that online, like the online qualifier, serves that's purpose. Then, like, you want that. If further down the list, those people get invites, then it's unfair to people, say on my level, who's going to do like the Wodapalooza qualifier and hope to make it, and like say like I've been killing myself and I'm fitter than that automatic invite person, but I don't get a chance to show it because now the online qualifier means nothing, because further down the list they got an automatic invite. I don't think there's gonna be another list of problems with that. I think it's useless. I don't think there's anything good about it. I think it's pointless. I think you just say give 10. Like, some regions are going to be better than some regions. I don't think you should make it a complex thing. Everybody loved regionals, and I get regionals had its problem. The South region sucked. Okay, like 6 through 10 in Central.
Yeah,
6 through 10 in Central. Those guys got screwed every single year.
Every year.
Because South got 5 guys and they got 5 guys. Mm-hmm. And there was 3 freaking games champions in their side. Tough.
Yeah.
Like, I just think you should have 10 spots for West, 10 spots for East, 10 spots for Europe, 1 spot for Africa. I don't know why we have 2 spots for Asia. I have no idea why. 1 spot for Asia, and then the rest give to Oceania. They've earned it just because they happen to have 2 of the best CrossFitters in the world for such a small region. They're kind of like Iceland a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Australia. So you just give the rest of them, 1 to Asia, 1 to Africa. I don't know why we have to be fair to the most minuscule point.
Very
You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about it at all. Like, it's literally like they're gonna do what they're gonna do. I think it's stupid, and I'm just gonna play by their rules because it's what I've signed up for.
I don't understand where their thought was. Well, we can use it for like off-season competitions, okay, and not have a qualifier and lose all the money that you would have made for having a qualifier. That doesn't make any sense. It's like, oh, well, we'll only let people in this range come in. Okay, well, what if I miss quarterfinals for 1 year because my back hurt? Do I now have to compete in RX instead of the pro division because of that? Like, it doesn't make. There's just so many issues.
You're in scaled.
Yeah, I'm in scaled.
Yeah. So, Wad Zombie, we need to buckle down and get a polled rankings going. So
I agree. There's a lot of things have to happen for that to be respected amongst the whole community. Like, I don't think that works unless the whole community, Talking Elite Fitness, Savon, get with the programming, CrossFit headquarters, that's the big one. Justin Berg, he's got to be on board. Everybody has to be on board that's what we're doing, right? And that's
yeah.
What
if you're going to use rankings for,
it's the end all be all. We're going to have a poll. We're going to have a board that decides on the rankings.
It'd be so cool.
And that would be the best solution, and it would work, and nothing would be a problem. Everything would be great. There will be no problems.
The only thing
you have to have all those people agree though for that.
The only thing better would be if it was just mine. Just my picks, and then it would solve so many more problems.
And Max and Train Think Tank would be very happy. Jake Berman would get his another invite to the games, just automatic qualified invite. So, I was surprised when I saw that it came out last week, and then they didn't publish the points tables. So I had to go back and calculate those. And I'm going through it and I'm like, I don't see the point. Like they made it talk like it was going to make a big difference, and I just don't see it. So, yeah, I don't know if there's much reason to talk too much more about the worldwide rankings.
Well, it's like you're the only one really who has covered it, and it's like we don't even really want to cover it.
Well, that's the thing, that you never hear about it, right? Like
Right.
it comes out, it was published after quarterfinals just for determining the number of spots, and then feels like it's forgotten about. Like it doesn't really matter until next year's quarterfinals. Nobody talked about it. None of the commentators brought it up. It was just kind of, it was there. So
yep,
we'll leave it at that. One of the articles that Pedro from Coffee Pods and Wads brought up was he looked at the training camp success from last year to this year. And of course, in the way that he does it, he, basically said that, you really can't do this, but we put it out there. And then of course people started fighting on Instagram of what was, who was successful and who was not, without even reading the article. But as you think about training camp success, what is your definition, or how would you define, the best training camp for, getting to the games? Or in general, if you're going to say the best training camp, is it a definition of who does the best, or?
I tried to put a numerical value to this. I know, John, just give me a minute. I tried to put a numerical value to this. It's really hard. I don't know that there's any better way to do it than just like by feel, but I tried to do by improvement. But then like with hard work pays off. We've seen a lot of improvement from their athletes year over year, right? And now they're growing in number of athletes that they have, right? But if we measured Mayhem on the same thing, I don't think that their athletes improve as much. They just have a bunch of them. So they have a volume. And then Training Think Tank, their athletes have longevity. And it's like, how do you want to split it up? What do you think is more important? And so there's just a bunch of different factors you can measure. Saying which one is best is hard.
You just watch the workouts, Tyler. Just watch them, and
just
then you'll decide.
Freaking watch them.
It's not wrong. So I think the first thing that you said is the best thing.
Of course you do.
Okay, what do you think I'm saying right now?
By feel.
No. That's not what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. All right.
So hard work pays off. Had a lot of people that have improved year after year after year their placement. I think the training camp that's doing that the best is the best training camp. Now, when you say training camp, I'm not meaning a camp in Vermont. I'm just like, these people do this program and they're improving the best. That's what I think is the best training camp. I don't care how many people are in your thing. That's a popularity contest. Mayhem kind of runs the show on that. They have an empire, nobody else does. Okay, I get it, hard work pays off is coming, but Mayhem has an empire. So I think hard work pays off and Brute have had the best training camps, at least this year. The way Hopper has improved has been great. Now, I don't think you can just use one person. I think Barnhart has looked great. I think freaking Kolenbrander has her best year, it looks like. Mal has been amazing until she dropped off, right? They've had a lot of success stories that have gotten better and better and better. And then Brute, I look at Dallin. Dallin has gotten better and better and better, similar to Hopper. Maybe not as fast, but similar to Hopper. James Sprague has gotten better and better and better. Mm-hmm. Danielle Brandon, Emma Carey. It's when I can throw out multiple people just off the top of my head without looking at anything like that. Those training camps have had the best years. Katrin, thank you, Travis. Katrin is like the biggest one. That's the greatest advertisement for hard work pays off. I think that anybody could ask for. Katrin was a lost cause. Everybody had given up on her, kind of like Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
and then she comes out and freaking gets second in the whole dang thing. We predicted her to be top 10 in the games. When the sport has, I think everybody thought, passed her up.
Yeah.
You know, we look at the proven athletes. You got Brooke, you got Saxon. It's not great. You know, sorry, Shane. You do have Tia. Tia kind of does a lot, you know, and I get, is Sydney with him too?
Yeah, she's there too. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, good for Sydney. Sydney probably shouldn't have made it, but good for Sydney. But that does not stack up as well to hard work pays off or Brute. Mayhem, you know, roll out the Mayhem people for me. Roman, probably the worst semifinal he's had. He didn't make it. Who else we got there? Christopher, we all think keeps making it. He stayed the same the whole time.
Right. It's because he gives up.
That's right. I don't buy that. But who else we got on that team? On Mayhem.
That qualified. Campos.
I don't care about South America. Cornway has been good. He's been good, but he's always been good. Yeah. I feel like he's always been about what he is. I think y'all think he's a little better than I think he is, but he's always been pretty darn good. Page is on the come up. Page is improved. Page is on the come up. But I've named 4 people that don't really. Lazar, he was exactly what he's been. I can't see improvement from Lazar until I watch the games.
Yeah.
One of the things that
Bailey's kind of the same as she's been. Like, she did good, she made it, but we all kind of expected her to make it, and she backdoored it. You know what I mean? So, like, these people, in my opinion, have stayed the same. Paige has been the only one that I think has improved. Think tank. Sorry, Tyler. I want to get Underdog.
You don't have to do the whole list.
I think Underdog has done well for themselves. Because I think Ricky's freaking improving, and we haven't seen it. I think Ricky's gonna be a monster. I buy everything that Collar said. But Bronislaw made it when nobody thought he was gonna make it. I think Underdogs has had a good year. Training Think Tank, they're kind of like Mayhem for me. I like them more than Mayhem, but they're kind of like Mayhem for me. I feel like everybody's kind of staying the same.
Back in the day, it was like Misfit and Comp Train, and there was Invictus. There was a couple others, but those were
Comp
the big
Train.
dogs, right?
Freaking their coach don't even coach anymore.
Right. One of the things that we talked about, I did Comp Train or Misfits for like 5 years, and one of the things we talked about a lot that we noticed was they were really good at getting athletes to regionals and semifinals. But then after that, they couldn't get you to the games. They couldn't seal a deal. And so, like, my point with that is there's several different levels to this. Like, when you look at who's the best training camp, okay, well, what kind of athlete are you? What really scares me about hard work pays off is they're taking athletes from every part, like Christine Kolenbrander, making her have the best season she's ever had while she's hurt. Are you kidding me?
Well,
like, she's a seasoned
I do think we have to
athlete.
wait to the games to make judgments on a lot of these things.
But say she continues the trend and does really well at the games, like, that's a big improvement. And Amanda Barnhart, what?
Catherine Davis' daughter.
Like, that's scary. If you're like games level, you're making already games level seasoned games athletes better than they were before. Okay, that's huge. So if you're at that level, maybe think about hard work pays off, because they seem to be the ones who have the formula. Now, if you're like a semifinal hopeful, maybe not. Like, there are other camps that might get you there closer. Don't always. It's like that that thing they say about like Ronnie Coleman or anybody who's really good. Don't do what Ronnie Coleman's doing now. Do what he did to get where he is. Right? Mm-hmm. Not that they didn't go straight. I mean, some of these athletes are going straight to hard work pays off, but it just think about where you are. I think that's what I want to say to people who are like, well, I want to jump on this program. Maybe,
Elise is going to the games. Follow it. She follows hard work pays off. So next year, watch out for Elise.
Let me respond to that. I 100% agree with Tyler on that. I think that's one thing that I think Training Think Tank has in its cap. I think Training Think Tank is amazing at getting people to that level. I think they are. I think they're really, really good at focusing on the movement quality. Mm-hmm. We're not going to go on a rant about movement quality, but I think they focus on the right things to get a person to that top level. And then once they're there, it's like they're there and they don't improve as much as maybe a hard work pays off as when they're there. But getting people to that level, I do agree, it's way separate, way different thought process and what program is right for you as far as like the community. Honestly, they're all great. I don't think it's about programming.
Yeah.
It's about how you do it and the consistency with it. Consistency is the hugest thing. Like the biggest thing as far as being successful and getting fitter. It's just consistency. If you hop on one thing after the other, and you just think maybe a change of scenery is what's going to do me good, it doesn't. Stay with one thing and then peak yourself out before you change. Don't do what Sarah's doing. I like for the regular person. But like if we're just talking about the top of the top, are we not?
Yeah, I mean, it's if you're gonna say what's a successful program, like is it the number? Is it how well they do? Is it the improvement? I think
that'll be our top. Let's do a top 5. Let's do that. That'll be our top 5.
I can do that. You already know my answer anyway.
Well, you're fine. It's okay to be biased.
No, I'm just kidding.
Top 5.
I won't be biased. But we can do that. Yeah.
What you want next time?
Can we do it right now?
Now or next week?
Next week.
Neek. Okay.
Oh,
yeah, I need to research anyway.
You want
I
to do
don't
one
know. I want to do it off top of the cup. I don't want to do it right. I don't want to do it next week. Next week will be up to the crowd.
All right.
So,
here's the list.
So John has an idea. He wants to do top 5s, various range of things. We'll kind of tease that at the very end.
No.
We're not doing that. No, we're not.
We'll leave this to the crowd. We're just gonna do a top 5 every single week, and we'll let y'all pick the things if you want to. People in the comments after you watch the video or whatever. But like top 5 legless rope climbers, top 5 runners. Like just pick a topic, anything. It could be anything fitness related. And the fitness related.
Fitness. We're not doing
top 5 people at GHD.
Ice cream. Or emojis. No, we're not doing emojis.
No, like it has to be like within CrossFit, and then we will all come back with our top 5 every week. We'll just pick one. Today we're doing
training camps.
Okay.
All right,
Brian,
John,
you first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah,
you give your number 1.
Yeah, I'm going to go with brute strength right now. I think they're the hottest one. Obviously, they'll have to prove themselves at the games, but the amount of improvement and success that they had, I mean, basically all 5 of Matt's athletes qualified. So, I mean,
are we doing this? Sorry, are we doing this based on if you're a games athlete or just overall encompassing best, like our personal favorites?
Let's do it for the year. Like who's improved? Who you think is the best at improving people?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just say people as a whole.
Yeah.
Is that fair? Because that's what I mean. It probably is better to the commenters, as people as a whole, rather than just top end athletes. Yeah, but that includes top end athletes. That needs to fall within your, judgment.
So an all encompassing rating. So you're going with brute.
I'm going with brute number 1.
Do they have programming for individual, like a blog program, or is it just you are going to Nick's place?
No, I think you pretty much have to be.
Or Matt, sorry.
You have to be down in Naples now.
No, they have multiple coaches. They don't have a blog, but they have multiple coaches. Like I'm with Coach L, and that's brute strength. They have like 6 or 7 coaches who all have a stable of athletes, and everything is individualized. It's not a blog programming. Everything is individualized.
Yeah, I will say
is the most successful one, but Nick Fowler was a part of brute for a while. He's by himself now, but like everybody has a stable of coaches, and it's under one umbrella.
Yeah, that was one thing that Peter did have difficulty is defining what was a training camp. Just because some of these are under an umbrella, but they kind of do their own thing, and so it was like, well, what do I call myself? As he was trying to categorize these, but yeah, so like parents and training think tank, so those types of things. I would say HWPO is probably my number 2.
Well, we're not there yet. Tyler's number 1.
Number 1, okay. I didn't know how you wanted to do this.
I'm gonna go with hard.
1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3,
hard work pays off. I hate picking the hot thing, but I think they're undeniable at this point. Like they've made a broad range of athletes better than they already were They've made, I've said it and I'll say it again, the most improved athlete from this year for the last 2 years, I think, is still Jason Hopper and Mal O'Brien. And then from a consumer level, I haven't done their programming, but I've heard great things about it, and their app is amazing. And so I think on all fronts, hard work pays off.
Okay, John.
Okay, I'll be biased. I'll say Brute. I do think their athlete, like Brian has said, their top end athletes have done amazing. I do think they improve year after year after year, right up there with the best. Hard work pays off is also very good. And then just from self experience, I over the last year myself have improved a ton, like a lot. And that's just from self experience. So I'll be biased with that because that's where I'm a part of. So I'll say
Shout out
Brute
to
as
Coach
well.
L.
Shout out to Coach L. Look him up on Instagram. He doesn't post a lot, but he reposts me sometimes, so that's fun.
You are fitness, so
I am fitness. That's all right. Number 2. Ryan.
Number 2. I'm gonna go with HWPO for pretty much all the same reasons. Just from getting those athletes who we thought may slowly drift away. They're back in the limelight. Katrin, Amanda. So I think they've shown that they have the ability to get those athletes back where they need to be. And even just hearing Christine talk about it, like they're doing something that sounds maybe a little bit different than what others are doing, and it's working. Tyler?
I would say my number 2 is probably Adam Knifer. And it only,
I mean, that's not a training camp. Something
I
else.
know.
Pick something else. That's not a training camp. That should be
You can't
under,
outlaw it.
No. That should be under one coach, one person. Where is that button? Go down a little bit.
It's down here. The single
there
athlete.
You go. Single athlete or
single
self-coach.
athlete.
Who's his
Okay.
other athlete? Ellie.
Yeah.
That don't count.
Yeah.
That's a couple. That's one couple. That doesn't count.
Well, I just want to shout out to how I like his style. I like how he manages.
Yeah. And Trista's technically there too, on the team side.
Scroll up a little bit. I'm gonna go with. I'll probably go with Mayhem just to be. I'd like Rich's programming. I know he isn't the one who programs it, but he's got oversight of it. They've got great presence, great marketing, and then also they're great from an athlete perspective, a consumer perspective. That weighs heavy for me. How does this apply down to us, the consumer level, the non-pro athletes? So yeah, Mayhem.
Mayhem's yours too?
Yeah.
Okay. For my 2, I'll say hard work pays off. It is my second favorite programming. I did hard work pays off for about a year before I found Coach L. And it's so I did Mayhem for a little bit while too. And I think Mayhem is great for capacity, improving your capacity. But that's it. Like if you have individualized weaknesses that you need to work, you're not going to get it there. I like what that personally. Now capacity across all kind of things, I think Mayhem's great for. Hard work pays off. It's like I don't think it's good for strength. I don't think they just do the hatch cycle. And that's what if Fraser likes to do the hash cycle, that's fine if it works for him. I don't think that's the best to get strong. If you do hard work pays off strong, I've never done it. It's a strongman thing, so I don't know what that is. But like their main thing, their base thing, hard work pays off. Their competitor thing. I think it's amazing for improving endurance. I think it's amazing for improving in gymnastics. But I don't think you can get really strong from that particular programming the way it was. I'm pretty good at knowing what's good at getting you strong, and I wasn't a fan of that. That's my only knock on hard work pays off. Just for the general population. Okay, if it can work for other people, but Hopper and them are working with Amy Everett. They're not working on the base program.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have to take that into consideration. they're not doing the hatch cycle like everybody else who's on hard work pays off is doing. So that's my knock on them as far as what just them as a program, just because I've done it for a year. But they're my second best.
Okay. My third one's probably going to surprise you guys, but I'm going to go with Proven. And hear me out. So you don't have Tia anymore. So if you just look at where people are going, right, and you just look at 6 to 5, you go, well, they're sending less people. But you don't have Tia, you don't have Saxon, you don't have Brooke. Saxon and Tia both, or Saxon and Brooke were both injured. But what I'm seeing is they got Olivia to the games, right?
Oh, Olivia! I forgot about Olivia. Yeah.
So I mean, they got Olivia there. I mean, I don't think any of us thought that she was going to be able to be in that mix this year. And what they've done with Sydney, I think is impressive just from where she's come from. Now, yes, she still struggles with the muscle ups, especially when you throw a ruck on. But a year ago, she wouldn't have gotten one of them. So, and she basically destroyed everything else to be able to get in there. So, yeah, you can look at it and say, yeah, Brooke and Saxon didn't make it, so they're doing something wrong. But if they were both healthy, I think they both qualify. Tia would obviously be there, and you say they continue to grow and do.
The tide turns pretty fast, yeah, with a few changes. I see what you're saying, yeah. You're not buying the low. You're buying in the low is actually what you're doing.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just you see the headline athletes and you go, they're not there, and you see that they're sending fewer athletes to the games. But
yeah,
if you take a step back and look at actually who did make it, and we're talking about who improved year over year, they definitely are in that mix.
Yeah. For sure, I think Olivia made a huge jump. That's great. It's a great pool.
Mm-hmm.
And put Christine's comment up there real quick. I need to defend
Christine said something good.
She's defending her team. I respect it. So when I was on it, Amy wasn't there yet.
Right.
This was when it first kind of came out. Is whenever like the very first time he came out with his app. I don't think this world's strongest gay. What's his name? That's his Instagram name. So you can't get mad at me for that. That's what he calls himself.
I just know my Instagram name.
I'm forgetting his name, but I know is the colorful Mohawk guy. He wasn't there yet. It was just Matt and Steffi Cohen at the time was with him whenever they.
Oh man, your OG days then.
Yeah, no. When it first came out is whenever I was on it. So it could be different now, but that is my personal experience. But you can take it from Christine over here. So
I mean, okay. Amy knows how to coach up weightlifting. She's gotten people strong in the Olympic lifts.
I think Amy's qualified by herself.
Very qualified. I don't think everybody knows about her though, right? Like if you weren't in the weightlifting space, you may just not know what she's done. So
go ahead, Tyler. You're number 3.
Number 3. You all are going to make fun of me, but I have justification for it. So you probably guess it. It's training think tank.
Training think's fine for 3.
A lot of people don't. So it's for multiple reasons. I'm going to give you my 4th just so I can make my points here. I think my 4th is brute strength. I think they do a lot of the same thing. There's a lot of coaches under the TTT umbrella, just like there is with brute strength. I think they're great at getting athletes to the semifinal level. And then the athletes that they are getting to the games, they make their careers last. Noah and Travis both have great long careers, and they were young when they started, but I mean, Max has prolonged that. I think,
which is an environment thing, I think too.
Yes,
Travis has 5 kids. It's crazy. If you honestly, that doesn't get talked about enough. That's insane that Travis can keep the fitness that
his energy too has 5 kids. His energy is so high.
Did you see his post? He's itching to get back into it too.
Yeah. He's an anomaly to begin with, but anyway, they're great for those athletes who need individual coaching, and then you can their environment on site is amazing. So they're an actual camp, as well as offering it to different people across the world. But then their group programming is well thought out and has a stable of coaches who administer that. And so I think they are really, really top of the line on all levels. They just they don't seem to have the same success with marketing that Hard Work Pays Off and Mayhem do. But it's hard when you have the two best athletes of all time. Not to beat
no,
that
I mean,
one.
if
So,
Noah won the games, they'd have an easier
Yes.
time marketing. Like that's
Right.
hard. That's a hard thing to beat.
And so Brute is my fourth because they aren't as friendly to the average consumer, but I don't know that you need to be. Maybe that'll never be their thing, and that's okay too. But they don't have that tier, and so that's what's keeping them out of being the top for me in the top three. So anyway, that's my
John?
3 and 4.
Okay, my 3. I guess I'll do 4 too, and then Brian, you can do 4, 5. I'm willing on that. My 3. I feel kind of bad about saying this, but probably Training Think Tank. I know that might surprise a lot of people, but for everything Tyler said, I do think Training Think Tank is very, very good at getting people to that level. I just think once they make the games, or once they're close to the games, let's just say the Jake Berman line. Like once they're Jake Berman or higher, it's kind of where they're at. Like Noah did great. Travis has always been around 10 to 20. Like I just think, maybe Alexis Raptis will buck that trend. Right. But
Right.
we'll see.
Yeah.
He's like 5 to 8, 5 to 10. We'll see. Like she kind of ruined it because she's got to be like a podium to buck that trend. So, but I'm sure that's what she wants. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just think once you get to that level, they have not shown that they can improve at the same rate as other training camps have improved.
To me, the only exception to that is Hard Work Pays Off. To me, I think a lot of it relies on the athlete, the capacity that you have coming in.
You don't
That's
think
what
Dallin's improved year after year?
I think Dallin has, but man, he's a
Danielle
freak.
Brandon on her first year there got 4th. Emma Carey, I bet, is going to get top 5.
I don't know if you can say
already
Danielle
had the capacity.
Danielle's only there for a couple weeks or months.
No, mindset, Brian. Hey, you can't tell me that's not her weakest
the
link.
brute mindset.
But that's my opinion too. You know what I mean? You can have different opinions, fine.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah. But I mean, I just kind of compliment Training Think Tank. I said they're my 3rd best program.
No, I just wanted. I just wanted to make that play devil's advocate. Like that's my stance. Is that I think there's a lot of it that relies on the athlete who's coming into the programming, and but then Hard Work Pays Off might buck that trend for me. But I also see I see what you're saying too, and I don't think it's unfair.
And
Wadzalby
I
also
think
said
similar to the program. I'm just kind of looking through these. Like the program is similar to Training Think Tank for me. Like I think they've had a hard time getting more and more successful once they hit a certain mark.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I just saw it. I'm sorry, Tyler. Training Think Tank's my number 4. I just saw this other Underdogs. I think Underdogs is my 3rd. They don't have a lot of people. But you're right. Danielle Brandon already had it. You're right, guys. And Underdogs is what got her there. But they have Ricky, right? Underdogs does. And they have Alex Kazan. Talk about improving year after year. I know Kotler doesn't have a lot of people, but the people that he does have close relationships with, or he's, that's their coach and they're cohesive the way Emma Carey and Matt Torres kind of is. They have shown to be very year after year more and more successful. Now they do not have the broad big program it is. It's like just their elite group and that's it, right?
no, they have programming. I thought
I'm
wrong
they
about
might
that.
have programming, but it's not like broadly known. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Training Think Tank is a freaking camp of people. Underdogs, I almost feel like is a gym. Like it's different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's similar to Brute. Like there's more to it, but you don't think of it that way.
Similar to Brute. Yes. But underdog should be my third, mostly just because I have faith in Kotler. I think Kotler's one of the better coaches out there. I think Nick Fowler is the best coach out there, and nobody really knows about him. Nobody really talks about him. I would take Nick Fowler over everybody, honestly. But he's only trains 2 people, and he used to train Roman. He doesn't anymore. Roman left for Mayhem, and that's why I don't like Mayhem. But and then Mayhem would probably be my 5th, just because it is Mayhem. But and Mayhem's the biggest thing there is. I don't think the Mayhem people improve people though once you've hit the games level.
That's what I'm struggling with. I'm trying to think of who has Mayhem brought from.
Haley Adams was their golden child.
The bottom, now they're here,
and she was 5th almost immediately, and she's 5th when she left. Like they're just so big because it's Rich freaking Froning, and nobody can get that nobody gets that out of their head, and they think that's the greatest thing in the world. But like other than Rich, it's kind of like everybody's where they're at.
Do you guys remember Sick Fit?
Who the hell's Sick Fit?
It was a website back in the day. It was like maybe the original like CrossFit media space. Like they would
really?
they'd have videos of different local competitions and stuff. Webb Smith, I think, was part of it, starting it up.
Do y'all know? I forget. It's something outlaw, like big outlaw programming.
Outlaw Way.
The Outlaw Way.
Yeah. That's the like.
That was the original camp.
If you were a monster, that's what you're doing.
I remember people doing it. It was ridiculous. They did stuff that is just like, what are you doing?
So my 5th would be Mayhem. It's hard for me to put Proven there, just because they're not as big, and their best people were kind of trash, and the best one is pregnant. So, it's just for this year. Next year they could be way, way better, but for this year, Proven had a rough year.
Yeah, definitely had a rough year. Number 4, I'm going to go with Training Think Tank just because of the consistency. I think the coaches there are probably some of the best out there, in how they think about the sport and to improve their athletes. And number 5, it's going to be unproven yet, but Training Culture. I mean, they have Yella Hoste. Trying to think who else did I have.
You're just looking towards the future. I think Elena Caratala is with Training Culture.
Sorry, that was North Shortcuts. Training Culture is Fabian Benito, Michael Wozlowski, and Alexia Williams. Yeah, they're a Spanish group. So just the fact that they've gone from really having nobody, they've developed Fabian, got him there. Obviously, they could all just bomb at the games, but I think they might be growing something. Again, Europe is a few years behind where the States are. So if they continue to grow that, I think they have the ability to maybe to expand on that. And we may see them in the next couple of years have more athletes that are in the mix. So it's a little bit of a flyer pick, but I think it's a group to watch for.
Oh, I like that.
This 5th one is almost impossible for me.
Comp Train.
I'm not Comp Train. Yeah. I'm not
Chandler Smith. I can't believe you didn't say Comp Train, Brian. You love Chandler Smith.
Chandler's not with Comp Train anymore.
I thought he's not. I thought he still was.
He is in the coach himself bucket right now.
When did that happen?
Maybe when he moved out to Invictus. So I think he's.
I don't.
Maybe back on that. Who, Comp Train?
Yeah, other than Cole.
It is Cole and Caroline Stanley. That's it.
Man, you want to talk about a downfall? We should do the downfall of Comp Train.
Invictus isn't even on this thing, are they?
Not for individual athletes. They don't have anybody they're
all
individual beyond one athlete. Yeah.
They were the biggest camp, and now they don't even exist. What's that?
Yeah. I mean, now you look at their teams, and they have 3 teams going?
Yeah, I mean they're a team.
It's a different focus.
Different vibe, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Would Spiegel be Invictus?
I guess.
I don't know.
I guess you would be. I don't know what they're doing.
Comp Train used to be like the top of the top.
Oh, it was the first program I ever did.
Like
legit,
Katrin, and they put their stuff out
Yeah.
for free. Yeah, it was the first program I ever did too. Because Katrin was the queen of CrossFit at that time. Fraser was technically with Ben, even though I don't really think he ever was. Like for real.
But shameless
Jeez.
plug, tomorrow night, Ben and Cole will be joining the podcast. So 6:30 Central Time, join me, and I'll be interviewing those guys. So be nice until then.
Okay.
I'm gonna go.
Glad you told me that before the podcast started. I appreciate that.
I'm gonna go with SMTP for number 5.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Listen, here's why.
We see who sees Taylor as an equal and who sees Taylor as an above right here. That's what we see right here.
Listen, proven, I'm not buying it. That camp only exists because Tia and Shane live in Nashville. As soon as they move, it's done. Underdogs.
Forget about their supplement line and everything else they're building there, but
that's all a bunch of crap. Underdogs. This is just redneck intuition, but it always has felt like hype to me. I just have seen little substance.
What about Ricky is just hype?
Ricky could have picked anybody
and
gone back to the game.
No, he couldn't.
No.
He was a freaking drug user. He cheated. He cheated. No, he couldn't. He couldn't go to anybody. Nobody wanted Ricky. Everybody.
It's a metaphorical.
He was the cheater. Nobody wanted him. Nobody wanted him. Okay, and he said, "Justin, Mr. Kotler."
No, Justin said, "I'll take you.
I can win the games. Can you have faith in me?" And Mr. Kotler was like, "Yes, sir. Let's go make a monster."
I need someone to wear my
Ricky.
flag. That's what he said.
Yeah.
What about him is all hype? He couldn't have gone to nobody. They believed in him. He had faith, and then the comeback happened.
But you're talking about Ricky right now. You're not talking about underdogs. It's all about Ricky in your
sentences. because I think Ricky has talent, but Kotler's helped him up here in managing workouts, not going crazy on him.
And he has gotten stronger. Listen, like Ricky's whole thing, Roman was similar. Ricky was always like the endurance king. He was always the best runner. He was. But if you go back and go watch him in 2017, okay, he was not what he is now. He was not strong in 2017. I think 350 probably was close to his PR on his clean in that clean bar muscle up workout in 2017 games. Go watch him in the 2017 games. There's events where he is just not strong enough to win the games. Obviously strong enough to be up there. But to win the games, he's not on that level. And like I never thought he would be. Because people who trip it, like he's kind of like Haley Adams, right? I just don't think she'll ever be strong enough to win the games. It's a whole different story to win. And he got stronger.
And you're telling me no one besides Justin Kotler could have done that for Ricky. Not would have, could have.
I'm not saying that, but they didn't. And nobody wanted to. Like the thing is, nobody wanted to. You know what I mean?
I don't know that we can confirm that.
I think we can confirm it. I mean, it was.
Get Ricky on.
You think he would have been on Hard Work Pays Off? Is that where you think he would have went?
No.
Matt Fraser
that would have been a great story, though. That would have been amazing.
So you're with
Alex.
SMTP.
Yeah, they have a great consumer product. Taylor's making his way. He's getting a small stable of athletes together. They actually have a camp sort of going on. They got a great guy who's behind the camera filming it all. It's a great environment to be in. People should be a part of SMTP.
Hold on, I need to respond to Mason. Mason, I don't think there's one lift that Ricky can beat me at. Before you start commenting that, I don't think there's one lift that he can beat me at. But here's the thing: he can beat me in every single thing there is that is in fitness. But that's
the sandbag.
That I don't know. He did pretty good at this team. before we start making comments like that, but everything else in fitness absolutely murders me. I couldn't even be in his atmosphere. But don't make those comments. That upsets me. Okay.
Yeah, what's your last one there, John?
I said my last one. The last one is probably mayhem, just because it still is mayhem. It serves a lot of people. Population wise, it probably reaches the most people. If we want to talk about, I mean, how many people have gotten fitter because of mayhem? It's probably a decent amount, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. I was surprised, though, as we move on to this, just the number of single athlete or self-coached athletes. There's only a couple self-coached, but as we continue to see more and more of this shift to training camps, and then you have these people that are working one-on-one with a coach, I was kind of surprised that it was basically half the field was in that category. So
didn't used to be that way, did it?
No.
It used to
What
be
do you
all
mean?
self. It
was
used
all
to just be all
okay,
everybody
yeah.
was
No
by
training
all.
And it's transitioned to that, but all we hear and all we talk about, and we just did it, is training camp. And now but you look at it and still half the field is still working with a one-on-one coach or doing their own thing. So,
and we didn't mention, like, we could have said DECA for like we didn't say those type of things, but like, because like Vellner is under Latondra, but so is and I don't know if Horvath is still under Latondra, but like she was at one point. Like they're both
Mooseburger is there.
They both fit under that DECA camp. And like, if you want to call that a training camp, it's remote, so they're all, in different places, but they're all under the same coach. They're under the same umbrella. It's just at their own place, and everything is individualized. I mean, I think there's a lot of those too. So I'm like, we could call those training camps, and I think this would be a little bit different. But for the sake of the argument, we're just calling that in one place, correct?
Right. Yep. Okay.
I couldn't agree less with Jackie's comment, by the way. It's going to go back and forth. The sport gets more complicated, and you're going to have to know more and more about how to program the right ways for it. People are just going to flock to programs. Yeah. There are very few people left who have the capacity to do this by themselves anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you think it'll go more? But I think she's meaning more back and forth between training camp and one coach per one person. For instance, you put Adam Knifer in this list, but you didn't put Michelle Latondra. Why?
Yeah, she was on there. If you had to have at least two athletes, so she was on there. DECA was on there.
I didn't see DECA on there.
I have to show you. Here we go.
Okay. I mean, I believe you. Where are they at? Oh, all the way at the bottom. I'm not looking there. Okay. Well.
But she only sent two, right? So, I mean, it's that, again, like, she could have the best program, but did she elect to only have a couple athletes, like, fly under the radar type thing?
Well, what I'm saying is, I think there's more single athlete to coach than self-coached.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. There's only two or three that were self-coached. Yeah.
She's saying like it's going to go back and forth between training camps and then single athlete, single coach, like Vellner and Michelle Latondra.
Yeah.
It's going to go back and forth like that.
Moving to a camp.
Would you disagree with that, Tyler? I agree with you. I don't think you can just go by yourself.
Right. They can't, because now we're getting between the distinction of like, well, Perrin's a coach and Max is a coach and Kyle Ruth's a coach, but they're all under TTT. And it's like, if you really split that out for hard work pays off, there's probably a little bit of that going on too. Like Frazier probably has Mal and Jason and not hardly as much touches with other athletes. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it gets a little weird, but no, I don't disagree. It'll go back and forth. You'll see coaches fall out and not, they just won't hit for a while. And then, somebody will come to replace them eventually.
And training camps and coaches is different. If we're doing top 5 coaches, I think this list is different because
that's one we should do. If you had to pick a coaching training staff, what 3 coaches would you pick?
Oh man, I mean, that's different though. Like I wouldn't do coaching training staff. I would just do.
It's not a today thing, but it's like
coaches.
3 coaches.
Like because a training staff, I'm thinking, okay, who's the best for cardio? Who's the best for lengthening? You know what I mean? Then I'm like singling out things, and then I might have one like everything guy, right?
Yeah.
But like you look at Adler and Carolyn Lambre, like
they do it all,
killing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's one coach to one athlete.
Yep.
Cool.
Or I consider 9 for the Maderos one coach to one athlete. Allie Turner just hopped on the train. And the train is called Justin. I'm just kidding. Don't clip that. But you know, I consider that one coach to one athlete.
Yeah,
It
is, and so it's what do you consider a training camp? Is I guess you can go from that.
Yeah.
Last topic here. Tier Wodapalooza announced a change to its individual, adds a new open division, got rid of the intermediate and scaled, and just went straight to an open division. So, according to its Instagram, you basically have a elite RX, and then after the qualifier, if you're in 41st, you're now part of the open registration. What are your initial thoughts, Tyler, on combining this? And I mean, 41st
So much
in the
better.
world is pretty darn fit.
What was it last year?
You had to pre-sign up for certain divisions, scaled or open, but you didn't get, like, if you got last in the open division, you probably would have gotten. Let's pretend you would have gotten first in the scaled division. You didn't get to backfield. You just didn't get to go. That's why this is much better. Just open division, how you place, and then it goes down the tier from there.
I agree with that.
I'm so happy they did that.
But what? How far did RX go down to last year, and Elite go down to?
Yeah, I don't. Well, Elite was at the same top 20, I think.
Top 20,
right?
Yeah.
I thought RX used to be a lot bigger than that.
I think it was. You could sign up, but wasn't it still part of a lottery or something like that?
I mean, I thought the qualifying was just a lot larger than that. I thought it was like 21st to like 70th or something.
Yeah. So you had bigger fields. And so then this, it looks like, and from what I understand, is that the open registration, if you finish outside of that, it's somewhat on a first come, first serve basis. It's a little unclear of how it'll work exactly. If it's a lottery, if it's just the first 20 to 40 to sign up, I don't know exactly, but it's meant to eliminate sandbagging, which I think there might have been some in some of those intermediate and scaled divisions for sure.
Yeah, I was on a team of 3, and the people who jumped down to our division were just so overqualified to be in our division. It was aggravating because it was like, you're not going to go now. And then in the scaled division, you had like legit great athletes in that. You were seeing scores that were almost in the RX level, and it was like, well,
yeah.
So yes, it should just be, go down the list.
Yeah, I mean, I think the question, it says 40 spots per gender in the open division. So it said first come, first serve. So we'll see how that plays out. And then you have teams, they still have the intermediate, but then they have an open division there. So
it's larger divisions, though.
It is larger divisions. It does look like they're putting more emphasis on the team aspect than the individual, which I think that's a good thing from a community aspect and getting more people to be able to participate and manage those versus having a bunch of individuals. Then did you guys see the Masters teams of 3?
This will help the viewers. I don't know that I understand it completely.
You have to be older than 125 years to
accumulated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you see, you can have 2 young guys and then 1 guy that's really old, and it still works.
Yeah. So in this first example, you have 2 35-year-olds. You have to be at least 35, and then the total age of your 3 athletes has to be at least 125 years old. So you'd have 2 35s and a 58-year-old. You could have 39, 42, 51, but you couldn't have 36, 37, 45. So it's kind of an interesting play because how do you manage that and have a team that's formidable and interesting. And I think it is cool to see a Masters
Grid originally did something like this. You had to have 2 older athletes on your team. It was like 45 or something, yeah. And so this is interesting. I wonder why they made this decision. How many people know of a 50-year-old that wants to go to Wodapalooza and compete?
Oh, they're out there, man.
They have all the masters.
They are out there, but like, how many?
Again, I think you're going to see.
How old's what's his with Kevin Caster? The guy who can do like a backflip. He could do a backflip. He's like 55 years old. He's really old, but like really athletic. I think he's won like first in one of the Masters champion at CrossFit Games. But like that guy could go with like two 35-year-olds and probably be pretty darn competitive. You know what I mean? And they could just do things that he can't, right? Like he might be fitter than them or just as fit as them, lungs wise and strength wise, but maybe he can't do ring muscle ups like galore because he's old, right? Something like that. And then you get two 35-year-olds that can, like he's
Jesus. Yeah. Look at this.
And he's like 56.
Yeah, he's over 50.
You're on testosterone for sure, bro.
But he like this guy, there might be some limitations that he can't do in some workouts just because he's old and his limbs can't move a certain way or he can't lift a certain thing. I mean, I'm sure he's pretty strong, but
I bet snatch is the only thing he might struggle with.
But like something like snatch. So you get two 35-year-olds that can and that are really, really strong. He's going to be right there with them, and they have a chance at winning. Right?
Yeah. See how this looks.
But if he got three guys his age, they might not win because they're not beating the younger guys. You know what I mean?
No, I think I definitely think that Wodapalooza is going towards the team fun aspect of it, and I think this is one more step to it. I think seeing the teams of three, how they did it with the elite and having them separate, kind of showed that. And from what I'm hearing is that a lot of these changes are based off of the survey they did. The surveys that they did and asked the athletes, and it sounds like they want more teams. The Masters athletes have the money. They have the ability to travel down there in January. So I think you'll see a lot more of that, which is going to be pretty cool to see. So my first trip to Wodapalooza was last year, and it was a great time. So, what else
this is an interesting point. I mean, I've always believed that the team competition will kill the individual competition eventually. If you give it water, not the top of the top, but everywhere else, it will go away. It will dwindle down to, I mean, like you're already seeing at Wodapalooza, it used to be an individual competition. Now it's like almost a team competition.
Well, I think it's because the elite athletes enjoy and have fun at that. It's not, they still want to be individual athletes at heart. They still want to be the fittest on earth.
The more money that's put in, the less team will matter.
Yeah.
So we just,
okay. So the bigger it gets, if it gets bigger, the less team will matter.
I think that's the deciding factor is for me. I don't think we can get that much bigger if we focus on the individuals. I think there's a cap and we're approaching it.
Well, we have to figure out a better way to showcase teams if that's ever going to happen.
Yes,
because
it's the
we need to make people want to do teams. I mean, Wodapalooza is like the best competition, like the way they managed teams last year, but they allowed the individuals to do team.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think Vellner is never going to be on a team if he can't go individual. Like individual is always going to be his thing. But when you say, hey, you can do team too if you want to if you want to do individual for real, and then y'all can clown around see if you can win two of them. Why would you not be? Why would you not be down for that? Yeah. Right. But like that's how it would have to be. I don't think you can do that with the games. But there's a reason Wodapalooza had such great teams, and it's because they did it that way. If they said you can only sign up for one, like every other competition does, the Wodapalooza has been the only competition that's tried to make that work, and I thought they did an amazing job of making it work. I thought it was awesome. if other competitions don't do that, team will never be big at all. It won't be. The games is the biggest thing, and there's still just one team we think is going to run away with it, and then there's 2 teams that could be competitive, and then nobody else matters.
I don't disagree. The current system is ass. And
but how you can't do that with the games though? You can't put people through 15 events, and you have to do that right at the games for individuals.
Yeah,
you have to do that. You have to put them through war to see who can come out and be Alexander, right? You have to. They're not going to do team after that, right? But the way Wodapalooza did it, I think you could do that every year. It just has to be a dialed back.
Yeah,
I won't get into it too much. What I'm saying is that the team, the monetary cap on the team, if we prioritize team competition, is much higher than it would be for individuals. But under the current setup, if you just push that forward, it's not going to work. There are several changes that have to happen, but I think the monetary cap for team is higher than individuals ever would be. And I think that Wodapalooza is proof of that because they keep taking emphasis away from individuals.
It was still way less money, though.
Yeah, I think it was more of an exhibition. Let's have fun. I don't really want to throw down and compete as hard as I would have to as an individual. Like if I'm there as a team, I'm going to have fun. If I don't win it, I don't win.
Like the way you're talking, like teams are going to, that would mean team competition would be first, and then they'll do the individual after. They will never do that. That will never happen. And nobody will ever do individual if they're doing team first.
Yeah.
Now, and that's what you're saying. If team is taking over individual, that is what would happen.
I think you're too short-sighted. I don't think it would work at all like that. But
I get why you're saying.
It's a longer conversation. I just think the teams could win the sport, and I think it could make the sport. It just there are people.
You're talking about like getting rid of individual altogether. Then
almost, yeah.
And like
I think
like a team.
I think it would be like an every other year sort of thing. I think doing it all the time is a little too much. Every year I think is a little too much. Or even alternating it to where people could be on a team. It's just, I think the cap on individuals is driven by the fact that you can only compete about 4 times a year. And there's only so much money you can make when that's true. Versus you can get a lot more out of a team. And you can see a lot more performances out of a team. But
I don't know, man. I think if it went to team, I wouldn't do CrossFit.
I think you're wrong.
I wouldn't. There's no point in it for me.
Worked well for grid.
I want to be one of the fittest men in the world. I don't care if I'm on a team.
You telling me you like running all the time?
Yeah. I'm telling you, I want to work. I want to work hard enough where I have ran so many miles that even though I'm trash,
like 3, I've ran like 3 miles.
No. Over the course of my life, that I have made the games because of the work that I have put in. Right. That's what I want, and I prove like. You cannot do that if it's just a team sport. If it's just a team sport, you're just going to get with your buddies and you're going to crush workouts you're great at, and the workouts you're bad at, you're not going to work very hard, unless you're at the top of the top.
Yeah, I'd have to see how it would look, but it feels like the golf scene where Liv is pushing teams in an individual sport, and it doesn't work, right? They're combining these guys. They're still competing individual, but they have team points. Nobody cares about the teams. It's all about the individual. You want to see the stars win, right? You want to see them compete head to head versus against.
You want to see the fittest man and the fittest woman in the world.
Yeah.
You don't get that.
I don't disagree. I'm just talking about from a monetary standpoint. I think we're limiting ourselves. I don't think we should ever get rid of the individual games. I'm always going to want to know. I mean, the games to me is being on the schoolyard and a bunch of boys just making up stupid things. Okay, we got to run over here, and then we got to climb across the jungle gym, and that person's the fittest. That's what the games is to me, but in a professional level. And we're always going to want to know who the fittest person on the planet is. I just don't know that we're doing it the best way we could right now from a monetary standpoint.
I do like the idea of the three teams of 3. I do like that. better.
I like teams of 3 way more than teams of 4 or teams of 6. I
Yeah.
think you can just do so much. The less people there is, I think you can do more.
Yeah.
with.
And I do think there's something Halpin brings up. Good point. Bringing back the Invitational. I did enjoy
I
watching.
missed
Why did that go
so
away?
much. That was so cool.
Why did it go away?
Don't know.
I think it was solely an exhibition. It's solely a cost. Like there was no money made on it, and so they were just throwing away money every year. And it's like, okay, that's a lot of money you could just
I think we
save.
should do like the regions now. Like if we had an Invitational in the North America West region, the North America East region,
the
Europe region. You know, I think that would be really, really awesome.
Asia
doesn't get an invite. Neither does Africa. Australia can get a region. Oceania can get a region. 4 people. There you go. The 4 teams.
Yeah, I mean, it would be really cool to see them. I mean, why not throw in Africa and Asia and let them throw down?
That's a waste of money.
Don't drug test them. Just that team. Don't drug test them.
Oh, you want to do that? We'll give Asia, South America, and Africa. They can have a team for the Invitational. They get to use drugs. and we don't, and it's known, and it's okay. Now look down upon.
No one's judging.
They get to use drugs. Okay, the second I win, so the second South America wins, they don't get to use drugs anymore. Like it's like what? Like, I'm honestly I'm fine with that. I would make it competitive. I honestly
handicap.
So when Kaiki wins this year, they're clean.
I know. I think we'd see like some monsters out there like that. That'd be really, really fun.
You better watch. You're gonna have to get him on the show, and you're gonna have to pay for that sin you just made there.
Kaike?
Yeah.
Oh, he'll be fine. I'll be like, Kaike, why did the top 6 out of 6 teams pop? Huh? I have my opinions for a reason. If you're clean, you're great. Go kill it, Kaike. I want nothing but success for you, Kaike. There's a lot of people down there doing drugs. What do you want from me?
Well, that's a good way to wrap this thing up. Well, Tyler, John, good one as always. John, do you want to tell the comments what they should add into the comments on the YouTube for next week on top 5?
Top 5 for next week. Tell us.
Just give us a topic, guys, for top 5, and we will all come up with a list. Brian will write it out. It'll be fancy, and we'll do it one by one. It won't be as like nonchalant as it was today. Give us a top 5 topic, and we will all make
fitness.
Top 5.
Has to be fitness related.
Fitness related.
Top 5 drugs for CrossFit. We should get more plates, more Dayton.
Enduraball has to be number 1. No, but like I saw somebody say like top 5 burnouts. I know that was like low hanging fruit, but it can be. No, I'm not saying that specifically, but it can be something like that. Top 5 people that you thought were going to be great and weren't. Or you know what I mean? Like it can be anything y'all can think of. Maybe not that, Jeff, but and we'll pick one and we'll do it.
Yeah. No,
our top 5 come out too hot. Times you came out too hot. That'd be fun. Noah would have 3 of the top 5.
3, 4. Hey, he paced it well on event 6.
It's just fun to make. Oh, he murdered event 6. It's just. I don't think he paced it. I think he was just fit enough to not
really
blow
good.
up.
Didn't matter. Yeah. So throw it in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe. We'll be back next week at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. So thank you guys.